go get them again.
Welcome back to another unboxing first impression video on my channel. Today we are delving into the brand of Frédéric Malle and of course the Desert Gems collection. We are continuing to build my collection. I sampled this line a year and a half to 2 years ago. I think the only one that I did not sample was Promise, which was a blind buy. And then we moved on to, which one is this? The Moon. And today we are talking about the Night. Very pricey line, an upper echelon line of a already high-end, expensive line from Frédéric Malle. But when I first started delving into this line, I'm like, oh, they're expensive. And I really wanted to kind of dissect these with sampling samples. And they really didn't disappoint. You're looking at 9s and 10s across the board with scoring as I score them on sampling samples. Now, of course, this is not a first impression. So yeah, I've smelt this. It's either a year and a half to 2 years ago when I did those videos. Of course, there's no unboxing here. The box is actually it's not in the purgatory. It's well in the purgatory. I have a actual room for all my boxes. They're in big Tupperware totes in the attic. It takes 90% of the attic space. I'm actually kind of thinking, well, why keep the box? I used to keep the boxes for either a resale value, because you can get, you know, a little bit more if you got the full packaging. Not much more, not worth holding on to, honestly. And who am I kidding? I haven't sold anything in my collection ever. So, you know, the only things that I've sold are like one-offs of, you know, my brother's collection. He wanted me to sell some off, things like that. But when I buy something, I keep it for my own personal collection. Or B, you're keeping them for fragrance reviews. Because in fragrance reviews, I wanted to show the whole package. And I've had like totes. It was very, you know, I had totes of like already reviewed. I don't have to go through those boxes. It was really a chore really doing fragrance reviews because the boxes are in a separate room and all my bottles are here. So anyways, long story short, why am I keeping the boxes? Anyway, yeah, it goes in the purgatory. This was a Facebook. I got a guy that has these and he decants a bit of it, and then if I have any interest in them, I will tell him. I'll be like, hey, I want the Moon or I want this, and he'll say, okay. So I'll decant a bit, see what the interest is, and I need at least 50%. Sometimes you get a little more than 50%. This one right here, the Night, I think I got like 80% of this thing. There wasn't much interest in this one, so I paid a good amount of money for this one. But I'm happy to add it to my collection. So now we got 3. And yes, there's a 4th one coming. We'll say maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks from now, where I'll be unboxing that. So really with this collection now, it really does give me a good arsenal for fall here, 2025, where I've added myself some pretty good gems that were in the purgatory. So it's nice to revisit the Night here today, and we are going to do that. But you can check out my sampling samples, which is more in depth, but you never know. I might get like a different feel of the fragrance with the first impression than a sampling sample. So keep it tuned in. If you did see that sampling samples, I think I gave it a 10. Pretty sure I did. But if you're new here, welcome to the Robes Away channel. I'm your host, Mark. Smash that like button, hit that subscribe button. Yes, you are going to see products like this, and then next day it's like Mont Blanc Legend or something like that. To women's fragrances, to indie brands, things like that. So I'm all over the spectrum of fragrances. I just absolutely love this little hobby, and this is a hobby for me, this channel, so that is a good reason to subscribe. I'm not in it for business. Link down below, no. 10% coupon code, no. Those are things that salesmen are going to give you, not me. So let's get into it. Let's take a look at the note breakdown. Let's take a look at the year released, nose, pricing, all that good stuff before we delve into it. And it'll be my scent of the day today. It is a hot day today here in Canada. This is going to be something. I'm staying inside today. I think, yeah, I don't think I'm going anywhere after this video. You never know, but this is a potent one. So let's take a look at the note breakdown. Let's take a look at the top notes. We have rose and saffron. In the mid, we have oud. And in the base, we have incense, sandalwood, and amber. So your typical rose, oud, saffron combo with, of course, adding incense, sandalwood, and amber to it. So if you are in the market of a typical oud, rose, saffron, and you have a fairly big budget, this has to be at least, and I don't need to talk about it now because I sampled it. It's bottle worthy for me. I would recommend this as a short list of sampling if you're into that. If you're looking for, you're that kind of, you're not like really a collector, but you're looking for that, you know, top 3 rose oud saffrons, and you're looking for something that is going to be the pinnacle of that genre, I would highly recommend this. You may not end up buying this, but it is on that short list that I would highly suggest to sniff it. At least get a sample, and samples are probably expensive, but sample it. This was released back in 2014. The nose is Mr. Spices himself, Dominique Ropillon. Excellent nose. He's been doing a lot of fragrances for this line, this brand. An excellent nose, an all-star perfumier. While people are talking about Quentin Bisch, I'm talking about Dominique Ropillon. Big difference. Now let's look at pricing on this one. This one can retail up to, $1,250 for a bottle. It can go as high as $1,000 or $2,000. $1,990, I think, is the retail for the 100 ml USD. Yes. For our Canadian friends, yes, this is like a $5,000 Canadian bottle. But at discounters, and if you search and you're patient, they don't really go in stock often. And when they do, there's like maybe 1 or 2 bottles and they sell out real quick because they're not going to have tons of stock of this. At discounters, you're looking at around $900 to $1,200, depending, USD for a bottle of this stuff. So yeah, you can be patient, and yeah, you can save a lot of money. Like that, this is one that is worth being patient with at discounters. Now, you may wait years. If you're not a patient person, that's not going to happen. And you got to be quick. You got to snipe. You got to put in the work, right? You got to go on these websites, the fragrance nets, because they keep uploading these things every couple days. And this one might just pop up randomly, and there's probably just one bottle in stock, and you got to be the one that'll snipe it at $900 to $1,000. So that is the way this fragrance game works sometimes with these really expensive fragrances. So let's delve into the night. We're going to put on strip first, and then we'll put it on skin as per usual. Let's see what we get out of this fragrance. 1 spray is enough on a strip, if I recall this thing correctly. Oh yeah, that cheesy oud comes in. That oud. Oh, that oud. I'm happy to have this in my collection. This is a very well-built perfume. And there's a thing, you know, in this brain right here that just loves seeing an all-star perfumier do what they do best with really premium products, materials. When those two collide and they do, you know, they do well, this is kind of what you get. That oud will be challenging to some noses. It depends where you are in your journey. To others, like myself, it's right where you want it. You know, it's not going to be that dusty, woody, westernized oud that people are used to. This has some cheese to it. It's got a little bit of that barnyardy feel, yes, but it isn't the most funky oud that I've smelt in my journey personally. But it's right where you want it. That it's, some people may deem this unwearable. I feel like this is rightly perfect for an oud that's challenging enough for a guy like me that it's not like I have any restrictions personally. Like, I restrict some fragrances that are challenging for the right thing, right? Going to a hospital, no perfume, none, 0. That is my rule. That's my rule. Going to the doctor, going to the dentist, going on a train. You know, I'm not going to wear this if I'm going on an airplane, things like that. I'm going to go with Pradas. I can wear scents, but I want to be mindful of others personally. I'm not going to go out there and do 20 sprays of something when I'm on an airplane. That's absolutely disgusting behavior to other human beings. I don't care, you know, it's very selfish of you to do that. That's how I feel. So I have restrictions on like big, bolder fragrances, but not that much. Like if I'm wearing a really crazy oud, we'll say something really super challenging, and if I'm just going to do errands, I'll wear it. If the weather suits it, like something in a beautiful fall day, I'm going outside, I might have to go to the grocery store and I'm wearing the funkiest oud ever. I got no problems being that guy in, you know, the grocery store that I wore it for 3, 4 hours, and now I'm going in to just grab some watermelon, right? So this is mostly oud right now. You get a little bit of rose, so that's your secondary, but it's mostly oud. That is your number one factor. So I'm gonna wear this today as my scent of the day. We'll do 3 sprays, and so, to some people, they're gonna be like, whoa, whoa, this is a 1 sprayer. Perhaps. Yeah, perhaps. The fragrance room has been engulfed. The oud is beautiful in here. Yeah, it's mostly oud, but there's some rose in here as well. Saffron's your third wheel. The rose is really well done in here as well. You know, some of the best in the game. The spices back the scent as a whole. So again, in the background. And I think, ooh, here we go. I think this is Indian oud. You never know with the sampling samples. What did I say at sampling samples? I don't know. I think this is Indian oud, which is, Indian oud is a little animalic. It has a halite quality, like a dryness, which is beautiful, and it's in here. And some woody nuances, of course. It also has some spice and as well, a little leathery tones as well, which this one kind of has too. It's, as a format of a scent profile, it's nothing new to the fragrance game, right? But it brings it. It brings the A game. Now, will you be amazed with the uniqueness of this scent? That's where I'm going. Most likely not, depending where you are in your journey, right? It all depends on where you are in your journey. Some people are absolutely going to hate this. It's disgusting. It's bad. Why are people spending this kind of money on this kind of stuff? I hear you. I know you. We've all been there before. There's going to be some that are going to be on the other spectrum. They're going to be like, this is not the greatest oud in the world, blah, 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 you know, not worth the money, you know, you can get Bornikov for $400-500, you know, those kind of people. Why would you spend this? It's not worth the money. Like you kind of have to ground yourself a little bit and kind of go, okay, right? And this brings it. It leads with the oud and the rosy qualities, but there's other nuances here, all top notch, all top notch. Now, what I love about this one is the Master Perfumier. How Rapillon puts everything together is why I spent the money that I spent. There's obviously the materials, and this brand is kind of known for that, but also the Master Perfumier altogether. Rapillon did well here, and you're kind of seeing, and this is mainstream. This brand is mainstream. You have to admit, so Rapillon did well here, and you're seeing less and less of this kind of quality, this kind of workmanship in the mainstream. And what do I mean by that is niche brands. And there's a lot of niche brands that are around me. There's more over here than over there, but like brands like Amouage, brands like, you know, you can go on and on and on. And some of these brands are kind of starting to water down their product. They're starting to get bought up by whomever, right? Coty, Estee Lauder, you know, all these LVMH, all these big brands are eating up these true blue niche brands and kind of making them a little more mainstream, more designer-ish. This is still in that spectrum of a niche product, even though from a mainstream brand, which again has been eaten up by a big brand as well. We can't forget that. You know, Monsieur Malle is gone. They said bye to him and his and his big brain of greatness in regards to perfumery, giving all these master perfumiers their due. Putting their name on the bottle. It was maybe a marketing ploy, but at the same time did well. and kind of giving them that liberty of doing what they do best with a probably very short script. You know, this is kind of what I want. Go, right? So this is kind of like, I can say like part of the end of an era as far as the quality goes. But it's a beautiful scent, like that cheesiness, you know, it's kind of eventually gonna, you know, as bold as it is, it will mellow down. You start gonna get more of the base notes in that, but it really does take a lot of time. But a beautiful scent, happy to have it, you know, adding to my Desert Gems collection now. Promise, the Moon, and now the Night. And we got another one coming up, which it's a secret. But yeah, this is a great scent. Very happy to have it in my collection. I don't think I needed this much juice. I'd rather have a bigger bottle of Promise, actually, instead of the 50 ml, and have more juice of that, and have a 50 ml of this, and I would have been perfectly happy. But it is what it is. I got 100 ml, and not much has been siphoned away as with the decanter. In regards to, I don't think I'm going to need that much with a collection like mine, but at least I'm not going to worry that I need to re-up on the Night. I don't think that's ever going to happen. I'll be well in my 80s when this bottle is going to be down and out a little bit. So now that you heard my take, I'd love to see yours in the comments below. Good, bad, and the ugly on this fragrance. It is a polarizing fragrance. Price tag alone will get some people riled up. To anybody that's just new to the game, just being like, almost $2,000 USD for a fragrance, forget about it, to really big veterans that'll just be like, nah, not good enough, right? You can get Arige, and you can get Bornikov, and you know, all that better quality, ooh, blah, 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 right? That kind of stuff. So you got a lot of reasons to kind of hate on this product, but personally for me, well done, well blended, materials are perfectly fine. There's no issues here personally for me, and you can do what I do. Right? You can go to a discounter, you can go on Facebook groups just as well as I do, you know, and kind of gauge and see who's legit and who's not. And you can buy a product like this for much, much cheaper than the retail price does. But others can say, well, if you can't afford the retail price of it, maybe you shouldn't be buying it. Or being a smart consumer, which is what I did. You know, I have a threshold. I hold myself accountable in my fragrance purchasing, even though you look at this and you'd be like, what? But yeah, I do hold myself accountable. And this is, if it's going to knock off $500-600 on that's a really good fragrance, $500-600 savings. So you kind of have to get into that game a little bit. And I still get the product and the bottle. So I can't wait to see the good, bad, and the ugly. You can go either way, right? I don't own stock in Frédéric Malle fragrances, so you can bash it all to hell. You can give it 10 out of 10, like kind of like where I am with it. Or you can go, no, it's not that great. It's a 7 or a 6 out of 10. I don't mind those comments. Great. And as always, a great or poor fragrance will make a lasting impression. Choose your scent wisely. Thanks for watching, YouTube. Have a good one.